hear the intro.
Okay. What episode is this?
20?
Yeah, 3.
Right?
This is the intro. Us trying to do the intro.
Yeah.
All right. It is Sunday, July 8th.
Yes.
12:30 in the afternoon.
Correct.
Kennesaw, Georgia.
Wow.
Episode 23 of the
Kennesaw?
Casually Toxic podcast.
You have an Ackworth address.
We're here, dude.
Did I say Ackworth?
You said Kennesaw.
Oh, well, it's like the same thing. Like where it's like if you put it into like Google Maps, it says Kennesaw or Ackworth, and then the rest of the address.
Man, cities are
still the same
weird.
shit.
This is
just
what
wanna talk about
they're
cities?
coming here for, dude. Let's talk about cities.
Yeah,
Who
and
else can
counties.
talk about this shit?
Man, you know,
have to come
Only
here.
us. Only us.
I used to live in Woodstock, Georgia, and eggs for like 12 large eggs was like 80 cents. And then I crossed over into Cobb, I think, from Cherokee, and eggs are double the price. And I talked to a dude at Walmart, and I was like, what's up with these eggs?
What's up with the
and
eggs,
he told
dude?
me that egg
Bougie side of
prices
town.
are dependent on like county lines.
Yes.
And
Yes.
different counties have different egg prices. So I was not happy to be paying like 200% egg price to live in glorious Cobb County,
Damn,
Georgia.
dude.
I know on the topic look.
Were they
on the
200%
topic
better,
list,
though?
I put eggs, but
Yeah. Look, I care about it. I eat a lot of eggs. I'm poor.
dude,
Also, eggs are good
I
for you.
fucking
You
But
can,
eggs are
you can
delicious.
scramble them, mix them, put them in a stew.
put them in a mug,
You can't-
microwave that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, you did my based on my
can't believe you
girlfriend's
microwaved
recommendation. You microwaved an
Yeah,
egg.
I'm operating without a stove, so it's kind of just like it's almost hilarious how everything in the microwave just tastes worse, like than normal. Like just cooking it on a stove in an oven tastes way better than just a microwave.
So this is really relevant and important right now. But how did the egg in the cup turn out?
I mean, it turned out fine. I think I overcooked.
Was it spongy?
I don't know. I'm not like a food connoisseur, so it's kind of just like I ate it.
That's fair. I cooked an egg in a microwave once, and it was really spongy. My girlfriend was doing it like poach, and it's like white, and you have the yolk, and it's delicious.
Yeah,
but no,
that's too much.
if you do scrambled in a mug, it's just you're eating a sponge.
Yo, so last week at the end of the podcast, we tried to convince you to play fighting games.
Yes.
And you did it. He's such a pushover.
You did it.
Well,
Fucking stand up for yourself, Matt.
you guys didn't really convince me. I was watching the tournament.
Oh, and the
got
tournament
him, dude.
convinced
Yeah,
you?
well, sort of. Fighting games have always been this kind of out there thing. It's like the only genre of game I haven't put any reasonable amount of time into.
I got you.
I've just avoided it, and I don't know why I've avoided it. So I'm slowly ramping on, I would say. I'm still playing Path of Exile, like, primarily until I beat it, and I'm kind of setting myself up.
How long do you reckon you're going to be playing Path for?
Oh, man. It just depends on luck, really. I have my build, like, 80% finished, 85% finished, and then I'm going to kill the big bosses. It just depends on RNG.
I feel
I'm
you.
farming currency. Currency in that game is different to me now. I have a different... I'm like, what? 20 chaos? That's pennies. Whatever.
Pennies.
Pennies, dude.
You're in a
Pennies.
different. You were in a different zone.
I'm at like 5,000 chaos. Anyway, point being, it's sunk cost. I've made it so far. That's part of the problem with it is like it's a league. You have 3 months. If you make it this far, you're just in. I'm past the point of no return.
Yeah.
I have to do this. So anyway, I have fighting games kind of in the background right now because I want to ramp onto that.
Yeah.
As I'm starting to kind of ramp down on Path of Exile. So, I bought Tekken.
Yes. I saw you launch Tekken. I was very excited.
I played for 2 hours.
Hell yeah! Did
And then
you?
I refunded it.
Oh my god!
Tekken isn't super new player friendly.
Not at all.
It's absolutely not.
So I think that was the big barrier. It was a different. I like more kind of fast, frenetic games as well in general.
Okay.
And Tekken didn't really give me that impression. I did a lot of research in general. I like hitboxes.
It's a hard.
fine.
It's a hard game. Tekken 7 is very much like you can't. I feel like you can't start off being like, I'm going to be really good at this.
No,
You gotta
and
start
I
off
didn't.
just, like, having fun.
I had the big things that like were points off just as a completely new player, not getting it. I'm not like critiquing this game on advanced level. Just like first impressions. I did not like the graphical style of it. I thought it looked really grainy. It looked
Yeah, there is film grain. You can turn it off though.
Sure. It's just, and maybe it's just because of where I'm at with the games I played recently, especially Path of Exile. I don't really enjoy the drab, like, kind of aesthetic of the game.
Okay.
I wanted something more.
It is pretty dark.
I wanted something more, bright, colorful, more anime inspired. That and it felt like it wasn't as snappy as I wanted, I guess. I'm using a mechanical keyboard to play. I landed on keyboard after research. I went through it all. I have an Xbox One controller, but the D-pad, the left D-pad is kind of broken. Like, it doesn't click. So that was kind of out the window. I was like, am I going to really be able to get into this? And then I started reading about hitboxes, which are kind of like keyboards.
Yeah.
And then people are like, mechanical keyboards are great for fighting games. And I was like, hell yeah. Because that's the best piece of controller I own. So I'm going to use a mechanical keyboard.
It's more so the connotation that it's just like, what, you're using a keyboard for a fucking fighting game?
See, that just like, but...
No, it's not a
I
bad
get the
thing, it's
impression that it makes sense because it's precise.
No, it does make sense. It's just because it came out of the arcades that they're like, you're not using a stick, what's up? Even controllers are like a kind of more recent, like, development, I want to say.
Where it's being more accepted.
I don't know if it's necessarily more accepted, but like...
How widespread it is.
Yeah, it's like, it's not uncommon to see somebody in the top 8 or top 16 or fucking win the tournament have a PS4
Nowadays,
controller.
yeah. Knuckle Dude plays on a PS4 controller and won the Street Fighter thing like 2 years ago.
I also looked at like the Hori fighting commander pad.
Yeah, I think...
I looked at a lot of shit. I've spent more time, which I guess this is the natural trend. I spent more time reading and researching about fighting games than I did playing.
But that's like
that's part of it, yeah.
Which obviously in that aspect of it, I am not going to have an issue in terms of just like learning and reading. I love doing that shit for games. It's completely fine by me. My girlfriend kind of criticized me because I started playing Tekken, and the first thing I did was just go to practice mode and start watching YouTube videos.
No, that's what you have to do.
And that's what I told her. But from like her perspective, she was just like, "You just bought a game to not play it and just watch videos." And I was like, "Yeah,
that's valid,
pretty much."
So, like, do you think? So did you bought a different fighting game, correct?
Yes, I bought Street Fighter V, which seems so far beyond the key binding scenario. I spent like 2 hours setting up key bindings. That shit was stupid.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. That game is like, it's not super friendly with key bindings. I wanted to rebind enter on the numpad to do like the 3 kick or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And so I went like did the input file like in my game, see whatever, and open up with notepad and was trying to change bindings to like unbind enter, which you can't do, so I ended up putting on numpad decimal. Anyway,
don't they have like key bindings in the game?
They do, but enter and escape and including enter on the numpad is permanently binded. There's no way to unbind enter on the numpad from being like the start screen.
Just a heads up, and I don't know if you care or if it even matters, but like if you go to like a tournament or whatever, where it's like
I've read up on this.
Yeah,
you either get an adapter for your mechanical keyboard or you invest in a hitbox.
That's not what I was saying. I'm saying like they're not going to let you sit there and manipulate because it's a PS4. So you're going to like the key bindings. You're going to have to learn something else unless you have a hitbox.
I binded numpad and my keyboard in the same way that a hitbox is key binded. So I use ASD, the 3 buttons, and then I have my thumb on space for up.
Okay.
Because that's how a hitbox is. Again, I've done more research than I have.
Is that really how a hitbox is? I haven't seen one.
Yeah,
I thought it was like
I thought hitboxes were like very modular.
I thought it was like a WASD.
No,
I thought like you could just do it however you want.
You can do it however you want, but generally it's going to be ASD equivalent, and then you have your thumb for the bottom button, which binds to spacebar for me. And then you have the 2 rows of 4, which I have replicated on my numpad.
Okay.
The whole idea is if I did want to go... If I got to the... I like preparing for things even if I'm never going to get that far.
I 100% agree.
Which is why I did so much research on controllers and stuff, and also why I kind of like tried to map the numpad to like what a hitbox would be on the right side and what it'd be on the left side. So if I do get into fighting games in a more serious way, I'm prepared to just like drop that money on a hitbox or build my own. I read a lot about building your own hitbox.
You can build your own stick.
Oh man, that looks really exciting, but then people said it costs about the same as just buying an official one, so I was like... Yeah,
but then you can design it. You don't have to have like this like white box look.
I mean, I I like the ones I saw people making hitboxes out of plastic bins.
Hell yeah.
That was really satisfying. I was like, I can do that.
So
I think I've seen a cardboard one.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen people recommend cardboard ones. Essentially, just because I feel like we skipped over this. A hitbox is this box that has like arcade buttons, the Sanshui buttons,
Sanwa.
Yeah, sure,
Come on.
those. Man,
don't, you're in a group full of fighting game players. Don't
hey
get
guys,
some bullshit.
I'm
button
playing
name.
catch up here
Fair
over
enough.
the weekend while I was playing another game.
Fair enough.
Anyway, they do that. They build it and big buttons, and it's a box, and it no stick.
It's basically, it looks like a fight stick without
Yeah.
the stick, just
Yeah,
buttons.
fight stick without the stick.
So, do you think after playing Street Fighter, so you played Street Fighter 5?
I have played Street Fighter V in training mode and key binding mode.
Okay, so how are you liking that one compared to?
I like it more, definitely. And in Tekken, right, you look at the move list and you have like 100 different
Yeah,
moves.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
In Street Fighter, at least for Ryu, which I know is supposed to be the beginner
Yeah.
on-ramp character, you have, like 15 to 20, and then different ways to modify those and link them together.
It's definitely much more simple.
Yeah, Tekken
it's-
7 is way harder.
It's easier for me to process that amount of information. I was already... Also, it seemed like... And now, maybe this is way off, and you guys can tell me. It feels like you can make your own combos in Street Fighter more than Tekken. Is that true, or
There's more optimal. There's always like optimal combos.
Sure.
Right? So
Yeah.
it's always like
Yeah, I don't know if you can make your own combo.
I've just been looking at like different lists that people have like compiled on Reddit, which is another thing about Street. Okay, so the things that make
there's
Street
a lot more resources for
There's
Street
a
Fighter.
lot more resources for new players. I watched some like pro player explain just like the basics in a 24-minute video. It was really easy to process that. I got to the point where it's like, okay, I understand all the base mechanics in this with like V triggers and parries and all that. Now let me look up combos for Ryu. And that's basically where I'm at now, is I'm just practicing different combos for Ryu. They rank them from like difficulty from easiest to hardest combos to pull off, which was really neat. It's just I prefer, again, more fast paced, and Street Fighter so far has given me the feeling that's more fast paced than Tekken.
I would say at the highest level Tekken is faster, but
Sure, but I'm not gonna.
but the thing is that
that.
like the thing
It's
is
not
that
you can't, like,
not
if
that
you-
you won't experience it, but I'll say straight up, Tekken is not a good first fight
Yeah,
game.
now that I'm thinking back on it, it wasn't a good idea to be like, hey, your first fighting game that you
Yeah.
don't even know you don't know what a fucking grab break is. I mean, maybe you
But
do,
the reason that Tekken seems slower is because you don't know how to do the movement in Tekken,
Mm-hmm.
which is like why Tekken's so fucking hard, because you have to learn how to move before you can even think about learning how to like.
And that was another thing that I ran into Tekken with it being 3D, is that I was having difficulty timing sidesteps and stuff, which was really kind of
just adds a
getting on
whole
my
other
nerves.
axis.
Which I didn't want that axis yet.
Yeah,
I just wasn't ready for it in any way.
It is a very good idea to start off with a 2D fighting game. If that's what if you want to actually get into fighting games and like learn it, and then you're like, hey, I would like to try Tekken again. Then you can.
Tekken will make a lot more sense once you know more about.
It's hard
fighting
enough
games.
as is for me, a guy that came from I started with Street Fighter 5. Actually, that was my first fighting game.
A lot of people recommend Street Fighter V as your first.
It is a good. The hate that it gets is because they made it too like newcomer friendly.
Yeah, and
Sure.
it also it's partially because when the game came out, it was literally like
totally unfinished.
it was
right?
multiplayer mode, training, and then you did like an arcade thing.
Because I bought Tekken, had a hard time with it, refunded it. I want the lowest buy-in possible for Street Fighter, so I got a key for Street Fighter V for like $8 for the
pretty good.
standard edition. I do not have the arcade edition.
You should have the arcade edition.
Well, it's updated to the
Yeah.
arcade edition, but I
Yeah.
don't have the season 1, 2
Yeah.
characters and all those arenas. But I don't give a fuck right now.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
You don't need it for a while.
Yeah, I don't need that stuff right now. So for an $8 buy-in, it was pretty.
Yeah,
nice.
no, it's a good purchase, and also you can just, if you see a character you're like, that looks interesting, you can just buy the character straight up without having to buy the whole fucking season pass. You can buy the season pass if you want to, but
Yeah, and I mean, I got the $20 that I spent on Tekken refunded to my Steam wallet. So if a Street Fighter does grab me in a more meaningful way, I'll just redirect that to Street Fighter, and basically the same cost in the end. Except I had a chance to try another game.
Yeah.
So The other game that I read about that is apparently really good for beginners that I thought about because it was like $3 during this sale, and then it was too late because the sale already passed by the time I was seriously considering it, was Skullgirls.
Yeah, Skullgirls is supposed to be like really newcomer friendly. It's like the best tutorial.
It's as far as tutorials go, Skullgirls is up there. Killer Instinct is up there.
I've heard that, yes.
There's a game on the PS4, and I guess on PC, Guilty Gear Rev 2.
So the other big consideration that went into what game I wanted to play in the end was kind of like player base, but also most accessible. Like how many players are playing it, right?
Yeah. Skullgirls is like effectively dead.
It's 200 to 300 people on any given time on PC. Tekken 7 is 3,000, around 3,000 on PC. And then Street Fighter 5 is around 2,000, but it has crossplay, which is another aspect of it that sold me on it. I was like, I have access. There's going to be more players probably at a lower rank that I can play against.
Especially because
Street Fighter.
It was just on sale. So like,
it'll go on sale again during EVO, and there'll be a lot of new
players.
players.
But even then, like, the biggest thing there is, even if it went on sale and a bunch of people played it, you know, you're only talking about 2,000 players. That might get bumped up to 3,000 after a sale or something. But that PS4 player base is apparently, I don't have numbers on it, obviously, but apparently PS4 player base is huge, and having access to that player base from the PC was a huge factor in me deciding to go with Street Fighter ultimately.
Because fighting games are they're a PS4
yeah.
genre. Like, if you go to any event, it's going to be played on PS4s, almost always. So, naturally, PS4s are going to be the largest player base of fighting games.
Yeah. So, Street Fighter, you have that 2K on PC, plus God knows how many people, which gives it a much more healthy feeling.
Street Fighter 5 is the most... I can't say it's the most popular fighting game right now, right? Because DBZ beat it in entrance.
I think
for
DBZ
Evo,
is more popular.
But it's also its first year of release.
Street Fighter is the biggest fighting game.
DBZ was also on the list, but the only thing that turned me away from DBZ, and it was just kind of a personal, like, just there's the base on almost nothing, is I just wanted to play one character. I didn't want to do the team.
That's a valid.
Also, DBZ is just as hard. Maybe not just as hard for new players, but like it doesn't have like a tutorial.
I've heard it's really good for new players.
It's good in the aspect that it gives you auto combos, and like the combos aren't super hard. But if somebody's even like a little bit better than you, they are just going to oppress you for the entire match.
I think it's good for new players. I don't think it's good for you, but I think it's good for new players because new players don't do the research that you're going to do, and so that's who auto combos are going to help. You know, but what those players will end up doing is they don't want to take the game seriously, so they just want to like play against their friends and do auto combos all the time, and that's totally fine. You know.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're the kind of player.
I have no problem sitting in practice mode, just like practicing combos for hours. Like that's enjoyable so far.
You strike me as the kind of guy that would rather think something through than just like scramble. And like DBZ is way more about like the scramble in like certain situations where it's just like you press out a button and hope you hit them. I mean, that is coming from a person who doesn't know shit.
I want a mix of like the kind of thinking it through aspect and pace, right? I want the fastest game possible while still retaining some level of thought, but I don't like the games, competitive games I generally gravitate towards, again, are kind of like, there's some thinking in Counter-Strike, but Rocket League specifically, you're not thinking too much about what's going on. It's more about developing muscle memory and reflexes, and that's also why I kind of stay away from like MOBAs and StarCraft and stuff like that, because it is all thought, and I don't necessarily want that much thought in my competitive game. I want it to be based on like reactions and just like
micro skills over macro skills.
Yeah.
I'd be interested if you end up getting more into Street Fighter 5, how you find doing inputs on keyboard, because I mean it's
really
probably easy, but like to me, because I played with a pad and now a stick, it's like the idea of doing ASD and then my thumb is on the space bar and that's up is like so weird to me. But it makes sense, and it should be an easier input than
I haven't done a lot, but there's been some like half circle and quarter circle combos or whatever, and I find it like really smooth, just like flicking that really quick on ASD, especially on a good mechanical keyboard, is just like it feels really good. Like an example, like Rio Super is like the big ball or whatever, and that's like SD, and then a punch. And just like it feels so good, just like tap that really quick, opposed to like I haven't done it on a stick, but just like in my brain, I'm thinking about it. I'm like moving a stick 2 times, like it's quicker just to do SD.
No, some people complain that they think hitboxes will give you an unfair advantage.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people saying that as well, and I'm all about those unfair.
It's a stupid thing. Like if it was so fucking great, then all the top players would play on hitboxes, but nobody's played a hitbox and won a major tournament.
I mean, that's not necessarily true.
In Street Fighter.
I think it's probably one of those things where maybe hitbox is technically better, but it's just such a small percentage that it doesn't. The only thing I care about is that it's viable, which it seems like it is more than viable. So.
Fucking, there's a competitor who plays like with one hand or something. I forgot his name.
Brawly legs,
but he's fucking crazy.
So
it's really just, I feel like the reason it's not as popular is because people don't learn on sticks, or the top players didn't learn on a keyboard. They learned on arcades or like.
There's that aspect of it, and hitboxes. I saw some fighting sticks for like $60. I don't know if you guys can comment on the quality.
That's not going to be a good quality.
They're not recommended.
It's like the drone was one.
The Quamba drone.
Yeah, they're around the same price.
So the reason
my stick was $200.
The drone was like $60.
Yeah, it is a $6 stick. The reason why there's like tiers of sticks. Basically, it doesn't matter what brand of stick you buy. It matters how much you spend on the stick, right? Because like the Mad Catz and the Hori and the Razor, they're all just as good as each other. But the reason you don't buy a $6 stick is because, well, I guess if you know and you can decide like that you don't like it quick enough, it's not an issue. But you get the stick and you don't like it, and you try to sell it, and people don't want to buy like that stick for a lot more than what you bought it for, or for like for a lot compared to what you bought it for. And then if you buy the $6 stick and you like it, then you're going to be like, not long after that, you're going to be like, well, it's like got this and this wrong with it, and if I get the $150 stick or the $200 stick, it would give me all these like fucking way better things. And so then you're going to end up spending the $60 and the $150 on the stick.
Yeah.
And if you just buy the $150 stick, this is just the thinking, is that if you buy the $150 stick, then you like it, you keep the stick, and you can use that stick for years.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the stick, you can sell it, and those sticks retain their value much better than the $60 sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of more so you're future-proofing.
That's fair. Hitboxes are just,
But if you have the money to just be like $60 just for a demo, I don't care.
Yeah.
Hitboxes
are just $200 across the board, essentially. So that's like what I decided on anyway. I was like, I'm not going to have a budget option. If I want to upgrade to a hitbox, if I get into this, then that's
where I'm at. Like I'm playing on the Fight Commander that I got as a gift, and I'm just like saving up to buy a $200 stick.
Yeah, I mean, sticks are fucking fantastic, and also part of the fun is like you can customize them, but hitbox looks sick as is, I think.
Yeah, I really like the aesthetic of there's like the hitbox, like official brand hitbox.
But you can buy like all the Sanwa parts and change them out however you like. Like if you just want different colors, or if you like, they have like silent sticks that don't like make clicking noises and or buttons. I mean, not sticks.
Yeah, but like you can change these buttons if you like. You want your thumb button to be gold.
I looked at every individual piece you would need, including like the chip for the controls, like the control board.
Yeah.
And like started like pricing out like how much it'd be to build one, just because I was curious, not because I was actually going to buy one now.
Fair enough.
But ultimately, it still comes down to like $200. It's kind of impressive. He's selling it at the most reasonable price possible. I assumed that $200 was going to be like a huge upcharge, and you could build your
competitive price.
Yeah, you could build your own for like $100, and you kind of can if you start talking about cardboard and plastic bins. Which maybe I'll build a plastic bin one.
What happens if you take a cardboard stick out and it gets like rained on or something?
You just lose the whole tournament. If it's an outside tournament, you get disqualified because you no longer have a stick. It's just putty in your hands.
Or someone just like spills a drink or something. Like if it's plastic, you can just kind of like wipe it.
Dude, what if that's a secret? Oh no! I spilled my water on your cardboard stick. This is gonna be a rough fucking fight for you, bud. That's crazy. So I'm actually interested. Scotty bought Street Fighter V as well on PS4 because there was a sale. It ended up being actually more expensive than what you did.
Well, I assume he got Arcade Edition?
He has the same shit you got.
And how much was that?
Like 10.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't that much more expensive. But he was playing a little bit, so I'm interested to hear if Scotty ends up playing it more, and if you end up playing it more, what your opinions are on it. Because it being my first fighting game, I had some issues with it, but I also think those issues, I played it at the beginning of its existence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was my first fighting game, so they're like, it was also when none of you guys were into fighting games. I couldn't get Scotty into it. Nobody played them, so it was kind of just like I was bitching into the atmosphere. Like nobody, like I didn't have anybody to be like, "Hey, that's dumb, Ian. Don't do that. That's stupid." So I'm interested to see how you handle Street Fighter V versus how I handle Street Fighter V.
It will be over the course of weeks, if not months, to fully like get a grasp on what Street Fighter V is. Probably for me. It looks so good. I really I like I like the look.
Did you see Ken with his banana hair?
I mean, I like. Okay, maybe it's just coming off of Tekken or whatever.
What?
I don't think
He's
Tekken
saying
looks
Street
good.
Fighter V looks better than Tekken?
Yeah, artistically.
Do we want this guy playing fighting games?
Yeah, maybe you don't. Aesthetically, Street Fighter V is like so much nicer to look at.
I just want you to look at 2 pictures of Akuma.
Yeah.
And one in Street Fighter V and the one in Tekken 7.
Okay. That's a problem I have with Unreal Engine 4 in general is like technically yes, it looks fucking great on a technical level, but then I keep seeing Unreal Engine 4 games come out that just they have no art style.
I'm not talking about technically. I'm talking about like the creative artistic decision to give Akuma a fucking mane, and he looks ridiculous. And they make you pay to get the old Akuma costume where he has the fucking bun.
I'm just not into what Tekken looks like.
Hey,
I thought it looked so grainy and just like I was not into it. My eyes hurt after playing Tekken.
I mean,
and then I went to Street Fighter, which just looked like clean and nice cell shading and just like colorful backgrounds.
It's colorful,
and I was just like, this looks good. And then also looking at videos of like DBZ, I know DBZ probably looks even better than Street Fighter, but
it's got its hosted issues as well, though.
Yeah, I can't look at. I mean, I can't
visually.
Look at
Tekken 7, like DBZ the best, but
yeah, that makes sense based on everything I've looked at. Tekken 7, I don't like the leaning towards like more realistic environments.
Yeah,
and stuff.
that's. I feel like Tekken's biggest problem for me, even though like I play it and I love it, and it's no longer like really an issue, is I like doing cool shit where it's like you're fucking. Shit's just nutty, you know what I mean? Like your character's doing like a laser beam or whatever, but Tekken's way more grounded. It's way more like, yo, I just ducked that punch and I punched you. You know what I mean? Like.
Sure, in that slower, methodical gameplay, I can appreciate. I'm just going to do it from afar right now while I get into some like dumb anime fucking.
I mean, like I started with Street Fighter V, so it's not like I'm saying it's a bad intro. It's just, and it's even better than when I fucking did it.
Maybe I'll hit a point with Street Fighter V where I'm like, this shit's too easy. I want the Dota of fighting games. Let's go Tekken 7. Yeah,
the Dota of fighting games.
Maybe that's when I'll get into Tekken 7 is when I realize League of Legends being Street Fighter.
League of Legends to Street Fighter 5.
Too late. All right, did.
Oh,
when I realize the League of Legends of Street Fighter games isn't enough or fighting games isn't enough to satisfy me, then I'll move on to Dota.
I feel so bad. Like, if I could go back in time, I would have stopped past Ian from trying to convince you to play fighting games. God, you're just so fucking wrong. Whatever.
I'm sure I am. I shouldn't be comparing MOBAs and fighting games, but I don't give a fuck.
So, you are a milsim kind of guy.
Ish.
I
play them. I enjoy them.
Did you... Can you tell me a little bit about Post-Scriptum?
Post-Scriptum is like a weird thing. I have a lot of. Do you guys know what Postscriptum is? Have you seen it on Twitch at all? Lyric was playing it yesterday along with like Sacriel and a few other people.
I just like both of those people.
That's fair. I mean, whatever. My only point was that it's been on the front page multiple times over the last few months of Twitch. A lot of people know this game, and it surpassed the sales numbers of Squad, which was developed by the people that made Project Reality for Battlefield 2, which is a mod. Anyway, the reason why this is significant is because Postscriptum is a mod of Squad, essentially. Squad licensed out all the work they did to an external developer.
A modern milsim or World War II?
World War II. Okay. Yeah. The developers of Squad, Off-World Industries, I think, licensed out their engine to external developers who then created a World War II version of Squad, which is now doing 30 times better than Squad.
Wow.
So it's just this really weird thing. And the other thoughts I have on this is essentially PUBG made milsims more accessible. Like, people, I think PUBG had a huge impact in the sense that, like, it brought Battle Royale to, like, the forefront of people's minds. But I think the thing that people aren't talking about is that it also brought milsims, and like no one knows it.
Yeah, it gave people a tolerance for the way that like gunplay works in milsims.
Yeah, and just like
that's why a lot of people moved to like Fortnite. That's why like I always said like I liked Fortnite better because it was like way more cartoony and actiony.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's totally fair. But like the fact
but the reason of that is because that PUBG is based on a milsim.
Yeah, and it's just like crazy to me because that's the thing that people never talk about surrounding PUBG is all you fuckers are playing a goddamn milsim, and I'm like,
Jesus,
what? It's just weird because no one talk. Everyone's like, PUBG Battle Royale, the end.
Well,
no one.
I mean, if you go genre, it's a Battle Royale.
Sure. But, I mean, just in terms of...
But it was a brand new genre. That's what everyone was, like, focusing on.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I get that everyone's focused on it, but barely anyone mentioned that's a milsim. Anyway, the way I'm connecting this in my brain, though, is that...
Which is just a mess. Your brain is a mess.
It can be. Okay, it popularized Battle Royale.
Okay.
It brought milsim gameplay to the masses, and they accepted it, more or less. Yes, it's fallen off.
Okay.
For obvious reasons. But it's still insanely popular.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Now we're seeing post-scriptum, and this is a milsim to like the nth degree. The only thing more milsim-y than it is Arma, starting to gain steam. I think my guess is that we're going to see milsims blow up next in a more meaningful way. I think that could be the future, not the future Battlefield, but the thing that starts taking over Battlefield, that starts taking over COD. I think milsim gameplay might actually end up getting popularized, and we're starting to see the first wave of that with Postscriptum.
I think milsims will do better.
Yeah.
Depends on your definition of what's popular.
I think this is the next like kind of genre that the game is going to come out, and maybe it's Postscriptum and something else that is going to blow up, and people are going to realize they want to play milsims. Which is going to be...
I think this is what's happened. Like, this is right now, all these people are coming in. Because it's just, like, people getting exposure to, like, the milsim thing. But, like, I don't know. There's a lot of people... I don't know. Because it's partly that PUBG is not available on a lot of consoles as opposed to Fortnite.
Xbox. Sure.
But, like, there are a lot of people who, like, tried PUBG and they didn't like the milsim aspects of the game. A lot of people, and that's why, like, Fortnite is partly why Fortnite's doing so well.
Sure, and in the Battle Royale genre, right? Mm-hmm. But in terms of shooters in general, I think that milsims
there is
have, like, a
vacuum,
huge
I guess, of, like...
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd call it a vacuum, because you might say that Battle Royales have filled in of, like, what shooters are playing. Because, like Ninja was a Halo player.
Yeah.
You know, and now that's the dude who's playing. And, like, same as Dr. Disrespect was, like, a Call of Duty player. You know, so
was
like
he originally,
or he like was a designer too, so like those are the like there while there isn't like a big FPS like there used to be, I guess. You know, like it used to be like when Bad Company 2 came out and like when Modern Warfare 2 came out and that kind of stuff, like that level of popularity. Like I don't know if there is a vacuum now that those games aren't that popular because there's just like people playing like Fortnite.
I think, and this could be off. I think you're right. There was a vacuum in shooters in general, and Battle Royale filled that. But what is like Battle Royale consists of like three things essentially, which is you loot. There's 100 players. You're the last one live, and then there's a shrinking circle. That's not a lot to like base an entire genre on. And so I think maybe what you're getting at there, or what you might be getting at, is that Battle Royale games filled a vacuum in shooters, and not necessarily that Battle Royale itself is like as crazy as people are making out to be. Maybe people are just playing these games because they're interesting takes on shooters.
Well, I think part of the, or like, I don't know if it's not like an answer, but part of the, I don't know, essence, the reason that the games are doing so well is that, and I saw it in this interview with a guy that I don't remember who he fucking even was, some game developer, I think he might work for Nintendo or something, where they're talking about how it's a crazy idea that the most popular game in the world right now is a game where like 99 people out of 100, or say like 96 out of 100 people go into that game like knowing that they're probably not going to win.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the Ghost Caller.
Yeah, Ghost Caller from League of Legends was talking about how to design a game, because like when you go in to play League of Legends or like a fighting game, right, 50% of the time you play the game you're going to lose, right? Yeah. But when you're playing a game like Fortnite, it's way more like 90% of the time you're not going to win.
Yeah.
But you're still going to have fun. So fun is not tied to winning, even though it's a competitive game. You know? Like, you still enjoy playing the game. So there's something beyond just, like, killing other players and, like, finding cool loot and, like, surviving to the end, you know? Like, in PUBG, when PUBG was, like, really blowing up, there's all these hilarious videos of people, like, fucking doing dumbass shit in cars and, like, setting up traps and, like, blowing up people in funny ways. Like, people still do that shit in Fortnite, like, riding on top of the rockets and the rocket launcher, you know?
It makes the player redefine what their expectation of winning and losing is.
So, what's the difference between Post-Scriptum and Squad?
As far as I can tell, not much, which is part of the reason why it's so crazy to me, is that
Is Squad also in World War II?
No, Squad is modern. Post-Scriptum, made by a separate developer using the same assets. Well, not assets, I should say. The same, like, they use Unreal Engine 4, but then they did a bunch of stuff from the ground up in terms of, like, menus and UI. And, like, you can build bases in the game that serve as spawn points and stuff. All those systems map directly over to Postscriptum, and it's a World War II version of it. But it's not, like, inherently different. It's still the same kind of slower paced, very communication based. You play with a mic or you don't play at all type of gameplay.
Okay, that's cool.
Which is the other reason why the other aspect of, like, milsims that I think might help it take off in the future is the social-based aspect of it that most other games are lacking right now. Everyone, you join a squad, you are going to be talking to those 5 to 8 other people in that squad nonstop. I know you have criticized, like, the role-play aspect of it in the past, which is fair, and there are people like that, but for the most part, most people, I mean, at a certain point, like, is raiding and WoW with your guild,
I just
like,
thought it was corny, that's all.
Sure,
not, like,
sure,
game-breaking, not, like, the reason to stop playing the game or anything. It's just funny.
Could we see, like, a different effect, though? Could we see, because more people get in and more people are just like, I don't want to play with a mic, and so it ends up being more...
Well, there's so many systems in place. If you get on a squad or Postscriptum server and you're like, I'm going to be a squad leader, people can leave at their own will. So if, you know, you're a bad squad leader and you're not playing the game correctly and doing what you're supposed to be doing, you can just leave the squad and join another one. Now, the reverse situation, if you're a squad leader and there's people being dipshits in your squad, you have the ability to kick them. You can create fire teams within your squad and actually have kind of like a command structure where you'll have like fire team leaders and they have their own people with their own orders they can give to those people. So just all these systems in place, you don't make it far in these type of games if you're going to join and be an asshole, and I think that's going to hold true even if you have a larger player base.
Interesting.
Milsims are interesting. It's one of the genres of games that I think hasn't been explored even close to 100% yet. When compared to like the casual shooting genre or like the mass shooting genre, right? We've covered like all time periods. We have futuristic. We have not covered the Civil War. I'm looking forward to that. But
you have to wait 30 seconds or whatever to load.
Yeah, I want some fucking line battles and bayonets. But I think the milsim genre has not even begun to like cover that territory yet, and I think there's room for a lot of growth there. I think it has that social aspect going for it. I think PUBG served as an interesting testing ground for it.
Could you make a Civil War game this year? No, like could you just make one in 2018?
Like What do you
like
political
climate or
would people let you do that? Like,
okay, maybe we should do Revolutionary War.
Yeah, because it'd be like
fuck the Brits.
Making a Civil War game would be like you'd have to make still a segregated all black Union squad that you could use, right?
Well, yeah, because
and Sony would have to play as the South.
Is this going to be like?
And you would have to. There would be scenarios where the Confederates win the Civil War.
Oh God.
Okay, so the natural question in that. Is this a Milsim Civil War game or a Battlefield Civil War game?
I don't know. They would never make a Battlefield Civil War game.
See, what you're saying would definitely have to be in a Milsim, but in a Battlefield they could just be like, I don't know, you got muskets. This is New York versus Georgia. I don't whatever.
A team versus B team.
Yeah, A team. Yeah. Terrorists and counter-terrorists.
God damn. Racist and non-racist. That's how you say.
Revolutionary War would be a better bet, for that. And there were mods for Half-Life 2 multiplayer mods that I forgot what it was called, but it covered the Revolutionary War, and it had line battle maps where it wouldn't let you move.
If you want to play a line battle game, though, it'd be way easier to just make a European one. To be Napoleon War or something.
Yeah.
Damn. So Milsim suck. I think that's what we landed on, right?
I think 2 years from now, we're gonna be like, fuck yeah, Milsims. That's gonna be the thing that
I don't think that will ever be me.
99%.
Because I don't want to be in the military.
Okay, I think Sirius has a specific case where the social connotation of being
not just
no
the
one
social
thinks
connotation,
that.
just I'm just
nobody thinks what you think. What are you talking about?
Hey.
Can we go back to Subnautica? Where you were fucking I'm gonna streamline
Ian's
Subnautica.
really mad about this whole Subnautica.
Because Subnautica's dope, and this dude was like, I fucking min-maxed the game. What's the problem? I'm sorry. Continue. What were you saying, seriously?
I lost my point.
Yeah, that's on me. That's on me, guys. Whoops.
Whoa. All right, so Ian's gonna take a minute to cool down.
One thing that I should have said when we were still talking about fighting games that I saw today when I was looking at my phone, as you do when you wake up, first thing you do, look at your phone.
Does anybody not?
You shouldn't. It's not healthy. I'm trying to not do that.
Why is it not healthy?
Something about blue light and fucking up your REM.
What if you got a blue light filter?
Shit. Then you're fucking golden, dude. Got him.
Yeah. Looking at my phone forever.
Anyway, there's a Tekken 7 Season 2 Season Pass coming out.
I saw that as well.
That's fucking dumb. That's stupid. I love Tekken, but that's stupid.
You don't want more bowling?
Yes, they put out... If you want to consider from release until now, Season 1 of Tekken 7, they brought out Eliza, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Geese, Noctis, and...
There's one other, right?
I don't...
Akuma? No.
Yeah, kind of Akuma. He's in the base game.
Was it really only Geese and Noctis?
There's somebody else, I feel like. I can't remember.
Noctis is cool.
Yeah.
That was the one complaint.
But anyway, so
about.
it's 3 characters, I guess, each with their own maps that they come with. So 3 characters, 3 maps. And then by popular fan demand, they brought back Tekken Bowling, which was a mini game from Tekken 4, I think. And that Tekken Bowling is single player only. And that shit costs it's $10 per character.
Everything you're saying right now just sounds so dumb.
It's
what?
It's $10 per character.
I don't.
So it's
very
$30.
I just don't a part of me wants to ask about Tekken Bowling, and the other part's just don't even. I don't even fucking care.
It's just a straight up bowling game.
Oh god. Can you plug in a Wiimote to your PC?
Yeah, that's actually the only way you can play.
Ooh, that would be sick. I'd be in for Tekken Wii.
So I don't know how much the Season 2 pass is going to cost, but they might have more guest characters.
That'd be cool. But I think, wasn't Noctis the last guest character?
I mean, they said that, but they could lie.
Ian made a bullet point on our topic list that asked what possessed me to play Noctis.
Yeah, but that was I didn't know you returned Tekken 7.
Well, you can still ask me that. I mean, I'm going to ask myself that question because Final Fantasy 15 is dope, and Tekken actually did a really good job of mapping that character over.
Fair enough.
That's all I got on it. I was just this is fucking sick. I'm Noctis and Tekken.
So, moving on from fighting games and from Milsims to a great game all around. We're going to get into that one. Fucking TennoCon, which is Warframe's yearly con thing, just happened. A lot of updates. So Last year they did Plains of Eidolon, which is like this open world area where you can fuck around with your friends and like there's like shit for you to do there. Excuse me. They just added another one on Venus. The update's called Fortuna, and it's way bigger, and it seems like they just upgraded a lot of shit from Plains of Eidolon to this one, so I'm really excited for it. It also comes with a new hub. It also comes with like a much fan-wanted space battle option where you can like, I guess, do some shit in space. They didn't really like drop a whole lot of shit on that. That one's called Railjack, I want to say.
That's a sick name for something. I would name something Railjack in a video game.
There's a new quest on like this, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a part of this story. That is one of the brighter points of Warframe that people really enjoy.
Is it like a continuation of the main story stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's also coming to Switch.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Looks cool. I might play it on the Switch.
Yeah, and just like kind of.
I was wondering, how do those little joysticks like do with shooters?
You use the gyro.
Yeah, you actually do use the gyro. Have you played with a Steam controller before?
No.
I swear to God, you gotta use
better.
the gyro.
Gyro's better for shooters.
Really? Like, could you play Warframe
It's not like
comfortably?
it's not like it's not like you go like, whoa, I'm moving my hands in a drastic fashion. You don't do that. It's like you move the analog stick and then you tilt it a little bit.
It's for like the fine. Yeah. So you move like the joystick to move like your crosshairs to like wherever you're trying to aim, and then like you use for. Like the Steam controller, you'll like hold down a button, and then it goes into gyro mode, and then you move it, and it moves like just very slightly.
Yeah.
So it's like way more precise.
I mean, obviously you're not going to be like playing Counter-Strike on it or whatever, but is that like enough to play something like? I mean, Doom.
Yes.
Have you guys played Doom on it? Or?
No.
I mean, I haven't, but people have, and that's how you play Splatoon, which is.
Splatoon was designed specifically for it, though. I'm kind of just wondering with Warframe, because Warframe is so fast-paced.
Yeah,
whether
Warframe
or not,
might be a bit difficult.
That's what I was. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw that it was coming to Switch, is because Warframe is so fast-paced, and you have like dozens of enemies around you at any given time, that moving your crosshair from enemy to enemy might be a little difficult.
But I mean, it's on PS4, so it's just like you just do it without the gyro.
Well, yeah, but. Because I don't have a Switch, I don't know. I assume that aiming is harder on a handheld with tiny analog sticks versus like a PS4's like bigger analog sticks.
They might just have to. I don't know how.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I mean, it's not going to be like I'm going to run the highest tier of content on my fucking Nintendo Switch, and I'm going to do it the most like min-max way possible. I don't know if that's what they're doing.
I know. I just
so.
I'm always cool if you can link your accounts, so then you can just take your character you have on PC to the Switch.
I wonder if it is crossplay, because I don't know if PC and PS4 right now is crossplay, or I don't. Is it?
Nintendo's okay with crossplay. Another company isn't.
So fucking this. I'm constantly surprised by how much shit they put out, and it's all for free. It's honestly a pretty fair fucking like free to play model. Like in Path of Exile, the only like required thing is bank space, bank tabs, whatever, stash tabs.
Yeah.
In this game, I mean, the only required thing is like slots for more weapons or warframes, but that shit is ultimately extremely cheap and also really easy to get for like it's the real money currency can be acquired in game because that's the only way you can trade things. Platinum is the only currency.
I agree. I forgot how much I played. I played a decent amount when around Plains of Eidolon and maxed out a few things. And I never felt like I needed to spend money on it.
Yeah, so why you made a noise earlier?
My understanding, from my experience of playing it and reading what other people are complaining about, and it's just a personal preference thing, is that I'm not a huge fan of the focus on horizontal progression. Like, there's no real meaningful in-game grind is the impression I got. You're not going to keep growing in power. I did not personally enjoy, like, leveling things up to level 30 and then just starting all those things over again. Like, that's the same reason why I couldn't get too far into Guild Wars 2 either. I want to grind. I want to get more powerful. I don't want to progress horizontally. I want to progress vertically.
Yeah, so it gets to a point where, like, obviously you can mod. I guess the vertical progression would be mods. So you get Vitality, right? And this is only for certain mods. You get Vitality, and then you upgrade all the way, which takes a while. And then, oh no, it requires too much energy now. Now you have to send your Warframe back to 1, so you can end up having this mod take less energy by, you know what polarization is and all that?
Yes.
Okay, so you do that, and then you send it back down to 1. You now you have enough energy to run a full level Vitality, but now there's shit like Primed Vitality, which is even better than Vitality, but also coincidentally, like, I think it requires more energy.
Yeah.
So like there's shit like that, and then also there's things called Riven mods, which are the RNG aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Which is like, hey, this is a random ass Riven mod. Oh shit, it actually makes this shit weapon top tier. So
yeah. And that stuff's interesting. I just wanted it to have some type of like in-game goal that like involves like moving up tiers of content, whether that be like some form of rating or just something there to like kind of strive for, like long-term goals to strive for, essentially.
I mean, they're kind of
that aren't like make your own goals necessarily.
Well, I mean, I would say before and even with, you know, you got Uber Elder and fucking whatever the shit. It's like, yeah, it's a boss. Which is kind of just like...
Well, the Shaper, like with Path of Exile, like the Shaper and Uber Elder are like the bosses, right? You say a boss, in my mind...
No. But I mean, like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they basically just took that boss and then, like, you know, turned it up for... This is the final fight, you know what I mean?
It's still a little more than that, right? Like, if it was just number adjustment, that'd be one thing. But it is literally 2 of the hardest fights in the game in the same fight. Right. So it's not just like tuning it up. It's like actually like merging the 2 fights into one fight.
My point is, like, the ultimate goal of that vertical progression is that you're able to beat them, correct?
Yes.
So I think overall Warframe has more endgame shit you can do.
It has more in-game shit you can do, but it doesn't have something that like to really strive for.
There's not like...
It doesn't have like some singular... Like the whole thing with WoW or like vertical MMOs, the single thing you strive for is killing the last boss of the last raid on the hardest difficulty. With Path of Exile, it's killing Uber Elder, killing Shaper, and Warframe, it's...
the Eidolon and Plains of Eidolon.
Is that like...
I would
you
say,
need to like grind for that, or
well, do you need to kill Uber Elder and Uber Shaper?
Well,
is that what you're asking? Or
I mean, how much effort does it take to like kill Eidolon and play Plains of Eidolon?
I mean, it's hard. I can't do it yet.
Okay.
I mean, A, it requires a group. B, I don't even know how to kill the goddamn thing. I mean, like, I think Warframe definitely doesn't have like a big boss now, and like this is what you've got to go and kill. It's more so like it is a game about just fucking, I don't know, enjoyment. Because, like, unlike, I mean,
sure, but we both know I don't enjoy games, so I need a reason beyond enjoyment.
Yeah, but even like this, I compare it to Path of Exile with like the systems. Like the combat's alright, and it can be. I mean, I actually really like the combat, but it's not like
I like the combat.
Crazy,
it's fine.
You know what I mean? And I like the movement, but it's the systems that really keep me going. Like, oh, I really want this frame. So it's, if you're like,
but see, like in my mind. You say you really want that frame, and in my mind it's like, yeah, but that's not really like making me better. This is just going to be a different thing that I'm doing. Whereas in like Path of Exile, I'm like, man, I really want that 6-link like 40 Exalt chest piece, and that is going to make me so much better.
Well, that's also just like some of the mods, right? What I'm talking about with like the shit. It's not necessarily like there might be, and I'm not sure, but outside of Riven mods, which are going to be like, wow, that fucking thing is worth 800 platinum, right? Which is a lot. I have a buddy that actually just sold like something like that for 800 plat, which is, like I said, a lot. There is no. It's not a fucking game like Path of Exile where like everything drops loot and everything drops better and better loot.
Yeah,
hopefully, but it is more so. Different frames are better for different things, right? So I would contribute it to builds in Path of Exile, like how you were saying last week, how you have like a character that you're gonna kill the bosses on, and then a character to farm magic items on, and then the first character to start you off, right? There's like, okay, I'm gonna run defense missions, so I want a Frost Prime because he can defend the objective, or I'm gonna run a survival mission, so I want Nidus because he's gonna kill a lot of shit really easily. You know, it's like it's like different shit works in different ways.
I know. I mean, it's essentially like. again, it's like horizontal with maybe a little bit of vertical or whatever. I want a straight vertical line to some like ultimate goal. That's like what gets me going in MMOs and like ARPGs. I want some ultimate goal, and I'm on a line, and I'm just going up the whole time. I don't want to dip to the left or right. Up.
Yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't really matter, but you could say like the Eidolon thing in the Plains of Eidolon would be that goal.
Yeah, and if it doesn't really matter either, I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I want it to be something like people are striving for as well, right? I don't want it to be like some side content where people are like, yeah, you could do this or whatever. It's like, I want a decent amount of the player base or like people that play the game to strive for that thing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot of really just like picky like shit, don't actually fucking listen to me. Anyone that plays games, I don't play games in a logical way. That I'm just the byproduct of playing too many fucking MMOs and games with like carrots on sticks and vertical progression systems. I just know what I like personally, and again, that's why I like Warframe, but I don't love it just because I'm not the right type of player for it. Right?
Yeah, I think
like the Mythic Raider on WoW is probably not like super into Warframe either.
I don't know. I think overall, in terms of like content, I mean, Warframe has a lot of systems that they tried. I mean, okay, so in Path of Exile, they try a new season. Nobody likes this season. They don't add it into the game. Right?
Yeah.
Warframe is like that, where they add a whole bunch of shit, and there's a lot of dead-end systems in Warframe, where it's just like, oh, you invested like all your resources in your Arcwing, whatever. It's kind of fucking useless, right? They don't do Arcwing missions really all that much anymore. It's like a dead-end system. So I think Warframe has more content than Path of Exile,
yes,
but not as much like. I mean, really, all there is like an end game of Path is the Uber Elder Uber Shaper fight, right?
I mean,
and
for a lot of players, yes. For enough players for it to matter, for it to mean something, yes, it is the end game.
Well, I mean, to me, it's still like I have 200 hours in fucking Warframe. Granted, I'm not like grinding constantly to get to the thing, right? It's not.
Mm-hmm.
That is still something that I can't do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's not like a big bad that everyone wants to kill, and it's very hard, and only certain things can do it. There is... excuse me. There is like a slightly easier than Uber Elder Uber Shaper thing that people are still trying to strive for. And also, I mean, in this new update, Fortuna, there's also going to be another big boss monster, so we'll see how that one goes. But I'm definitely interested in this fucking update. And the fact that it's fucking free and you don't have to pay for any of this is intense.
Warframe is cool. I'm totally on board with Warframe. I think it's a great game. It's not 100% for me.
That's fair.
Because I'm an idiot.
And you got...
It's not the game.
How many hours did you put in a good amount, right?
I think I was over 100, I think.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, it was a decent amount. I got through, like, some of the big twists in the story and, like...
you play, like, the Second Dream and all that?
Yeah, and I got through all that. I played a decent amount. I had at least 2 or 3 Warframes at 30 and a decent number of weapons. And I understood all the systems of the game and everything. I wasn't as motivated to keep going. Because, again, I'm addicted to, like, vertical progression.
Yeah, so for me, and I mean, it's not for everybody, but it's like, I have the Knight is free, right? Oh, but I really want Loki as well, so I'm farming up...
I wouldn't give a shit about Loki. Yeah. I'd be like, I want Nidus to become the most powerful thing ever, but it's like, no, I need to switch immediately to a level 1 so I can work on my mastery level. But I don't want to play a level 1 frame. I want to play my level 30 frame, but I still need to switch so I can get my mastery level up, and that's just not for me.
So what if it's like the ultimate... I mean, this is purely hypothetical. The ultimate weapon is mastery level 9, right?
Sure.
And this weapon is top tier. So would you switch out to a weapon that's level 1 to get your mastery up to 9 to get that top tier weapon? Would that be a vertical progression for you? Or is that still horizontal?
That's vertical, but then it's a bump, right? You have like a horizontal line that occasionally like dips up.
That's the same shit with Path.
No, with Path it's just a fucking vertical line.
What are you fucking talking about? Once you get to a certain level in Path, that is alright. Once you get to a certain level in Path, it's just like, okay, I'm farming basically currency at this point because like the drops that I could get are so rare that it's almost just better that I fucking like buy it.
But the only way you're moving is up, right? You're not getting in Path. You're not getting like a piece of gear that's just like equally as powerful and different for your character. If you're going to get a piece of gear, is going to make your character better. In Warframe, you're getting stuff that does not necessarily make you better. At least immediately,
it makes
or
you better
in the near future,
in certain
situations, but that's not appealing. In Path of Exile, I get a weapon or whatever, I get an upgrade. I'm now better in all situations. I am definitively more powerful. I've made progress on that vertical line.
But that's not true either, because like, I mean, you take a character that's like, I mean, this could be like a fucking random ass case, but like, you know, there's certain builds, right, where you start off able to do all content, but then it's like you take some shit where it's like, okay, now I just can't do maps that have like elemental reflect or damage reflect or whatever the fuck.
All builds are designed around that. You know when you're starting out what map mods you can and can't do.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, just because you're able to do some content doesn't mean you can do all. So it's like you would need a specific.
I mean, that's such like most any good build can do 90% of content, and there's only 10% you can't do, and by that 10%, I mean you can't run the exact same map with a single mod on it, and you re-roll it, and then you run that map anyway with a different mod. Like, that's not seeing content, right?
I mean, I don't know. I think because like I've seen a lot. Like I saw a streamer be like, "Oh, we just can't fucking run this thing because it has this on it," and he invested a ton of shit into it. So it's kind of like.
Yeah, and that can happen, but it's still right. It's still the same content. You're just not. That's a difficulty modifier. You're not seeing a single difficulty modifier. You're still running through the same map with the same monsters with the same boss.
Uber Elder is still like just a difficulty modifier.
Well, no, Uber Elder is a complete fight with its own mechanics. That's like saying WoW raid bosses are just the same fight with different difficulty modifiers. That doesn't apply.
I mean, the difference between heroic fucking Antorus and then mythic Antorus is some systems, but it's still like...
there's also new mechanics in those.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. There's some systems, but it's also ultimately just like, oh, it's harder.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I guess my point is where you see horizontal with like little bits of bumps, I don't see... Like, fucking part of Path was like, oh, I have to drop down this much because I need this slot in this piece of gear, and then my resistances have to be at this much, otherwise I can't. So it's like, you upgrade really fast in Path of Exile once you hit cap, and then you just hit this fucking wall for a while. And I mean, like... Yeah,
and progression slows down, but you're still... Anything you get for your character, any progress you make, is going to make you more powerful that second.
I guess we're just gonna let's agree to disagree.
We can to an extent. I mean, in a general context, people refer to Warframe and Guild Wars 2 as horizontal progression games. Like, that has been well defined since Guild Wars 2 that they are both horizontal progression games. Anyone talking about those games and talking about progression of those games just describe them as that. So you can really go...
I think there's...
You would not just be disagreeing with me here. And you can have your own interpretation for it. You have every right... interpretation for it. You have every right to do that. But you were definitely disagreeing with, like, very kind of set popular opinion and, like, viewpoints on both Guild Wars 2 and Warframe when you... are saying, like, they're not horizontal progression games.
I guess I don't see how you can call it it's horizontal progression to an extent, but I think the fact that, like, if a top-tier weapon requires you to be Mastery Rank 10, and you need to get to Mastery Rank 10, right, you've got to get there climbing up fucking...
Yeah, and during that entire time, you're spending enough time just, like, getting side grades that the game is primarily horizontal progression. It has some vertical progression.
I think once you get to, like, this certain point in Path of Exile, it's almost the exact same.
You are not buying gear that does not make your character...
You're farming up basically...
That just means you've stopped on the line. That doesn't mean you're side grading.
Right, but I'm saying you're stopping on this line, right? But you want to ultimately get up... We're just going to fucking go in circles on this shit. We're just not going to agree. Whatever. I think that's the podcast. Anybody else have anything else we want to talk about?
No. Scotty should download Civ if he hasn't already. Play that shit, dude.
Wasn't that, like, super cheap?
Civ 5? Yeah, it's always on sale nowadays.
Over the Steam Summer Sale, I heard there was like a specific pricing that was like you get everything for like $10.
Yeah, it was like the complete edition.
That's really good.
Yeah, that it goes on that like price frequently. So
okay,
cool.
If you're interested in Civ, look out for it.
That's another game that I need to play. Yeah.
Well, I think that's gonna do it for everybody. For us, not everybody, just us.
And you too.
Yeah. See you on the fucking next one.
Bye.
Bye.